Hi, my name's Samantha from the Global Training Institute, and today I get to share a good news story with James Matisa. Welcome, James.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, it's so good to hear these stories, James, and we're excited to sort of get to know you a little bit and see what's been going on in your world for the last sort of 18 months to 2 years. So,
Nice.
James, can you share with me, before you got into training with us, where were you in your career and life? I know you and I were just chatting a little bit before this call. Tell me about the times that you were a subcontractor and what was happening there in your life.
I suppose anyone listening is probably well aware that the construction market in Queensland's been quite competitive and quite thin for the last sort of 12 to 18 months. So I had left a really good full-time job with my old company and I basically started working as a subcontractor. There's the fit out and tier two market's quite dense during these times. So there's always work around, but you've really got to sniff to pick it up. So I was lucky enough to get on with a few different contractors, and I suppose I gained a little bit more diversity than I would have stuck in my normal full-time work. So that was pretty good.
When you say, James, that you had to sniff a little bit to pick it up, did that mean that it was stressful and you're in between jobs at times?
Yeah, it is, but you've got to take on, like I am a bit of an optimist very quietly. Not very quiet anymore, I suppose, but you've got me on video admitting to that. But no, I think that you've just got to embrace it. Like, everyone goes through it. Some people are more lucky than others, but it's competitive in that, you know, when the labour market is heavy, there are a lot of guys out there who are great, who are looking for work, and you've just got to put yourself in the position as much as possible to try and get a result. So I think that being out of my old role and into the big, very colourful casual and subcontractor domain was good, because I broadened my networks. I started studying. That's why we're here now. So it's been a pretty big adventure, definitely since, I'd say, the start of the financial year last year, right up until about the last couple of weeks. It's just been non-stop. So
That's good, because life's been pretty awesome for you from what I hear. So,
oh well, yeah.
well, tell me, let's just peel it back a bit. How did you get into the study? I mean, was there something in life that just went, oh, I've got to study, or did it accidentally happen? What happened there?
Well, look, like I've always had a curious brain. I found myself, even as an apprentice, being very interested in learning how the business works and operations and how things work behind the scenes. I've always been interested in management, although I'd say I've always been more interested in trying to understand how teams work and how businesses can work better. So going back to that old comfort zone thing, I think it was getting out of my old role and getting back into the real world that really helped kick me along and straighten up my goals. And that was how I realized that it's definitely, you know, time doesn't wait. So it's good to get stuck into it. And that's how I ended up doing it, really.
So true. Time doesn't wait. So what was the name? What qualification did you study? Tell us all about it, because I'm sure there's lots of blokes listening and watching this going,
Oh,
oh,
well.
I've been in this world. I've got to do something, but I don't know what.
Yeah, right. Well, look, I mean, I'd been stuck between project management and business for quite a while. And I suppose, to sum it up very briefly, like, a project is like a temporary endeavor that provides a product or a service to the end user, whereas business is the day-to-day ongoings, and they're the operational side of things. So I'm interested in both, and after a lot of consideration, I thought, why not try both? So I ended up kicking off the dual diploma. Proud to say that I'm halfway through now. I've just finished the business diploma, which is it was challenging. It was really good, and especially coming from that blue collar background, you know, most of us don't spend a lot of time in front of a laptop, so it's very challenging, but it's also quite refreshing to try something new.
That's fantastic that you're doing a dual diploma, because the word diploma can sound a little scary as well. Was it daunting at the start? What were you doing? I know you're a subcontractor, but what was your role before jumping behind the computer?
Jumping behind the wheel of a speedy educational car. Yeah. Look, in a nutshell, I'm a mechanical plumber. Good news is we've recently become licensed, and that's rolling out in Queensland now. So I've also been looking into that. Mechanical plumbing is essentially the HVAC, which is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning for buildings. So we handle the chilled water and the heating that goes in for the air conditioning to temper buildings. So that was my role. How did I get into the study?
Yeah.
Is that where we're at? Yeah, well, I suppose I actually did a Cert 4 in project management last year, and I really enjoyed that. And that was where I was a bit torn as to where to go next. And I suppose now, just looking at my day-to-day duties, you wouldn't think so, but when you undertake the study, it does help to broaden your understanding of how things work, and it makes you a more powerful asset to the company as well.
Fantastic, because it opened doors for you, right? What's your current role now since you've commenced your study and you're almost through?
Yeah, well, I went from being an apprentice with Brown and Moody to a tradesman with them, and I had a really, really good, I'd say nearly 7 years of continuous employment, and anyone in the commercial construction sector knows that's a pretty good run these days. And then from there it was subcontractor, and then a small projects manager for small fit out jobs, and now I'm actually back with Brown and Moody, and they approached me, which is quite exciting, to offer me a new role. So now I'm working on the Queen's Wharf development in the CBD as a site coordinator. It's a bit of a baby role. It's a role that it's going to change and grow. It's grow its own arms and legs and progress with the project. But essentially, I handle the day-to-day operations that keep the job moving, such as deliveries, onboarding, and multiple other things like PPE registers and registering plant and conducting audits on the tools and the equipment for the guys. So I think that role had become available to me because the company was aware that I had been studying and keeping very busy while I was away from them. And that's why I think it's definitely worth taking the plunge. Yeah.
So that pricked their ears up. It had them going, oh, what's he up to now? And it made you stand out, I guess, which is great.
There's a little bit of that there, I think.
A little bit of that there. So what difference do you think for yourself has gaining a qualification done for your confidence at work and personally?
Well, look, yeah, it's a big question. I'll try to keep that simple, but I think that getting back to that blue collar thing, like a lot of us, it could be as simple as just learning how to do basic documentation. They're really not the things that tradies do day to day. And so when you get your time at home and no one else is around, you're able to just dive into it, and it doesn't matter if you screw up a couple of times because you can learn. And when you enter the workplace, and especially for me, coming back into work with people that I had worked with previously, and especially people who were actually my mentors and my tradespeople, to be able to show them that you've learned these new skills and that you can apply them in the workplace is a pretty big deal. So that does a lot for your confidence, and I think you've got to be in it for the right reasons. So like if you've got a genuine interest in the profession and you want to learn so you can do more, you can be a real monster, you can do really well, but you've got to definitely take those steps first. It's tough in the beginning, and then I think that after you click your first assessment and it is marked, and then you can see that it's satisfactory, you go, oh, I can do that, yeah. And then next time it's, oh, I can do that again, and then you're kind of like, oh, I don't want to stop now. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
It relieves the pressure. Did the Global Training Institute trainer and staff help through this process? What was their part in your learning journey?
Pretty significant. I'll do a bit of name dropping, but Karen was absolutely fantastic. Yeah. I had the regular phone chats with her were an absolute lifeline for me. She can probably confirm that as well.
So you got to have one-on-one calls with your trainer, Karen?
Yeah, well, the thing that I really enjoyed about GTI's training model would be that I could basically email Karen on half an hour's notice, and if she had something free, we'd be on the phone and tapping away in no time. So I think that it's quite fluid. It's very flexible, and it does suit the busy tradie lifestyle, especially if you've got a couple of projects on the go. I think that there are ways around it. There's a bit of a stigma with the working class and being, I'd say, physically and mentally tired when you get home from work as well. So when you have the flexibility and you have the resources available to you and that support that GTI offered me, it makes that a bit easier. It sort of softens the blow because you don't always want to get home from a hard day's yakka and open up the laptop and go for another 3 hours. But yeah, I think the support from Karen and the rest of the team in the office was really good. It made it possible. Yeah.
That's fantastic to hear. James, what do you think the future holds for you as far as your career and qualifications? What's next in store for you?
Yeah, another big question. I don't actually have the crystal ball in front of me this afternoon,
okay.
but I think that, I mean, definitely a career where I can really explore. I've always wanted to sink my teeth into things and really understand the different aspects of my trade and more broadly the industry. So I think that just quietly, the course that I've just finished, it started off as a bit of a side project for me while I was going through a COVID unemployment stint, and it's actually turned into something very different now because I've used it for my application for a uni degree next year. So
that's fantastic. And in that part of your life, did CSQ funding help you to afford this sort of training?
Yeah, well, as I regrettably mentioned, the unemployment COVID stint, which a few of the fellow Australians went through this year as well, that definitely helped make all that possible, and it made it a lot easier to set up and start up and get it all moving than otherwise. So I think that the support from CSQ was really good. It was very reliable, and the time between me deciding what I wanted to do and putting pen to paper and actually starting was less than a week, which is fantastic.
Amazing.
And it's yet another myth buster for people that are a little bit concerned or trying to find reasons why they maybe can't start something like that. It's actually that easy. There's definitely not much reason not to do it, really.
That's great to hear. James, it sounds like your future is bright and there's lots of exciting things around the corner. And we're so excited at the Global Training Institute to see what you do. What would you say, one last thing, what would you say to anyone considering doing a qualification with the Global Training Institute?
Well, definitely no hard feelings, but I would stop procrastinating and just make a call. It's definitely worth a shot. And it's something it'll definitely work out better than you think. I think it's definitely for the blue collar population. There is a stigma behind the working class where it can be quite hard to actually break the glass ceiling and move out of the normal day-to-day activities that we do and step into new roles. And I think our conversation's probably proof that it's definitely possible, and you can be a real heavy hitter if you apply yourself. It's definitely possible. So yeah, it's very exciting. It's good.
It's very exciting. Congratulations, James. And for anyone watching that wants to join us and jump on the training learning curves like James's experience, give us a call.